Hello everybody, how are you today? Hope you're all doing really well. It's a gorgeous day here today. I think summer has finally kind of arrived here. Maybe I'm being a bit optimistic, but I decided to come for a drive today this afternoon. The last couple of days have been a bit of a slog, to be honest, so I decided that I would come down to the beach. So I've come down to Stokes Bay, which is Gosport in Hampshire, so if anybody knows it. So I'm sat on the beach now. It's quite quiet, there's a few people about. I've just got myself a nice cup of tea, so I've got a cup of tea there, which I've got takeaway tea, and I treat myself to flapjack, which is getting a bit warm, to be honest, but yeah, so I'm going to have a cup of tea and a flapjack. I wanted to come down somewhere nice today, really, where I could just sit and chill. I'm going to listen to some music while I'm doing a bit of writing, and one of the things over the last 6 months or so, maybe a little bit more than that I've really got into is journaling. I've really got into writing down stuff. I love it. I find it really therapeutic, and I think it's a really nice thing to have basically what you've done, what you're doing, what you're thinking of doing, what your thoughts are and stuff like that written down somewhere. It's just nice. And I think the reason I've done this is because obviously I lost my mum a few years ago, and I lost my dad in January this year, and one of the things that was really nice was when we were sorting out their flat and getting everything ready to hand over. It's really nice finding diaries with stuff that my dad had written in, stuff that my mum had written in, and it was just really, really nice reading that stuff. Just general day-to-day things that they were doing, and it's just really nice to go back and read it. It's lovely. So that was when I kind of thought, do you know what, that's something I really need to be doing. And I have to say, a couple of years ago, probably about 3 years ago I think, my lovely daughters bought me this book. I don't know whether you can see it. It's called Dear Dad, and it's from me to you, and essentially it's like a journal thing that you fill out about your life, starting from when you were a kid right up until the current day, really. So some of the things it's got in there: tell me about where you were born, what your earliest memories, what your parents thought of you as a child. Some of this is quite scary stuff. What do you remember about the places you lived in when you were a child? Essentially it just goes through like that. It's really nice. When I initially got it, when they initially gave it to me, I was a bit I don't really want to fill that out. It seemed a bit early in my life, really, to be filling out a this is your life kind of thing. But as time goes on, I think it's become more relevant. So I thought I wanted to start doing it, and I thought, the weather's nice, just go and sit on the beach and do that today. So I'm going to spend an hour or so writing down now, and just writing my thoughts. I'm going to go through in a minute, see what questions there is in there. I'm not necessarily going to do it in the order of the book is in. I'm going to just pick and choose what I fancy doing at that particular time. So the full word in the book: when we are children, we are always asking questions. Well, now I have some more for you. Please could you answer them in a way that only you know how, and then give the book back to me. There might be a couple of questions that you would prefer not to answer, so don't worry, just answer the others as well as you can. I won't mind. People say that we all have at least one book in us, and this will be one of yours. The story of you and me that I will treasure forever. So, yeah, there's certainly a lot to write about. But I think after my leukemia diagnosis last year, I became aware of legacy, stuff you're leaving behind for your kids, and for those people that you loved, really. So I'm going to start filling this out. I'm going to have some tea, and I'm going to have my flapjack, and then I'm going to start writing. So that's a nice cup of tea, that is. I'll have a little look through the book. I'm going to see what I want to write today and what I want to write about. What am I ready to divulge, I wonder. So what were your favourite childhood toys or games? I'm going to put a bookmark in that page. There's a question in there, what do you remember about your holidays as a child? We've had holidays. We didn't go anywhere too glamorous. We never went abroad. I never went abroad until my kids were quite young, really. So yeah, till about 20, my late 20s was the first time I ever went abroad. So we always holidayed in the UK, and one of the places that we did go to quite frequently was the Isle of Wight over there. So like I say, we never went too far, but it always felt like we were going miles, and it felt like we were going somewhere completely abroad because it was on the Isle of Wight ferry. And we never had a car, we didn't have a car. So I'm trying to think of how old I was before my dad got a car. I would have been in my late teens, I think, before my dad actually passed his driving test. He always knew how to drive. He learnt to drive in the army, but he never actually had a driving licence, I don't think. So, yes, we went everywhere, just bus, train, and whatever, really, however we could get there. So I remember it being like a real mission to go to the Isle of Wight on holiday, because we'd have to. We lived in Winchester. We lived in Winchester at the time, and we would we'd get the bus or the train to Southampton. Then from the train station we would have to get down to the ferry. Then we'd get the ferry, and then we'd have to get a train the other side to wherever we were going, essentially. So, what were you best at when you were at school? Probably, and I'm being really brutal here, but I was probably best at not being best. I don't think I was very good at much at school. Did you have an idol when you were young? Tell me who and why. I suppose when I was a wee kid, when I was really little, would have been footballers. I looked up to footballers. And then as I got into my teen years, I got more and more into music, and that's when I suppose Paul Weller became my idol. His lyrics, song lyrics, and that really resonated with me. Probably still is my idol. And his song lyrics still resonate with me. And that's lyrics from the Jam, and that's the lyrics he writes now. So what music would you choose to be in your top 10 from when you were young? These are great questions, aren't they, in a book like this? After somebody passes, you may have had brief conversations about these things, or things come up in conversation, but you're not really going to remember, are you? So to have these things written down, I think is really nice. What age were you when you started work? 4? Put down the pit. There's some lovely, lovely stuff in here. How did you feel when you found out you were going to be a father? Really powerful, aren't they? In my head I was like, no, I've got hundreds of years left, but none of us know what's around the corner, do we? And so I think I'm going to try and start filling this out. So I think it's going to be a really nice thing to do. So I'm going to go for what were my favourite childhood toys or games. So I'm going to write that down, and then I'm going to come back and read what I've actually written down. So yeah, I'm going to have some more tea. There's someone in the water out there. I'm going to have some more tea, and I am going to write down what I think about my favourite toys and what my favourite toys were when I was a kid. And when I've written it down, I'm going to come back and I'm going to read it to you. All right? So I suppose this is again where I show my gratitude, really. Everything that's happened to me in the last year, thereabouts, I tried to kind of turn it around and really make sense of it, but also to realise that what's happened to me has happened to me for a reason, and the messages it was trying to tell me. And I think for me, the lifestyle I was living just wasn't the right lifestyle for me. And I think there's people that can do that lifestyle. There's people that can work 100 hours a week. There's those that can do all that kind of stuff. Can work in high pressured environments. They don't struggle with that. But for me, I just couldn't cope with that. When I was younger I could, but not now. Not at the age I'm at. So I think my body's been trying to tell me and send me secret messages for a little while that, you know, you need to change the way you're living. You're not built for this. And I think it's only the last few months really that I've had a chance to kind of been able to appreciate the slowing down of life, really. And if you'd have said that to me 20 years ago, I want to slow my life down, I would have said, you're nuts, you know? I want to cram as much in as I possibly can. But now it doesn't seem so important. A lot of you will know, if you watch the channel regularly, you'll know that I drink tons of this stuff. Probably drink too much tea, but I have a couple of cups of caffeinated tea in the morning, and then I go on to decaf. And then later on in the day, I tend to drink green tea. And I've done that for quite a long time, quite a few years. And I like green tea, but I've always had that. It's always, for me, no matter what green tea I've actually had, it's always tasted a little bit bitter. Because with green tea I always left the tea bag in. And it's not even just slowing down. It's crazy how we live our life. I was waiting for the kettle to boil the other day and I thought, I'll read the box. I stood there, I was bored, right? That's how crappy our attention spans become, isn't it? You know, we can't even stand and wait for a kettle to boil without having to do something. So I didn't have my phone on me, so I started reading the box. And it said that you shouldn't leave the tea bag in for longer than 3 minutes, otherwise it will taste bitter. I wish I read that a long time ago, you know, because I've been drinking green tea for the last however many years, thinking, yeah, that's okay, I like that, and it's doing me good. It's got all the right stuff in it to be, you know, all the right whatever it is that you need to get from it. But thinking, yeah, it tastes a bit bitter. But if I'd have only read the box, I would have known not to leave the tea bag in. So, you know, what I'm saying is, I'm not bitter about it. But I wish I read it a long time ago, you know. But this is what slowing down allows you. It allows you to take your time over stuff. It allows you to take some breaths, and it allows you to, you know, be present, I suppose. And I think that's the beauty. That's what I'm finding in life now. I'm finding that is truly beautiful. And I'm starting to feel sorry for people that can't live like that. We get caught up in the humdrum of life, don't we? We have these expectations of ourselves, other people have expectations of us, and we feel we've got to live up to it. We don't see any other way of living because that's how we're taught. Everyone else is living like that. And if you can't cope with living like that, you're seen as weak. There's something wrong with you. Man up, pull your socks up, get on with it. Dust yourself off. Yeah, I get all that. I get that totally. Sometimes we have to do that. But who says that's the right way to live? I don't know. I don't necessarily. I would have done it one time, but I don't necessarily now. So I'm having a lovely time doing all this journaling stuff that I'm doing, sat on the beach today. Sometimes I don't have the energy for doing some of the stuff. I mean, last week I was completely exhausted last week, and I was unable to really do anything for most of the week. Today's a good day, and that's why I thought, do you know what, the sun's shining, make use of it, do something positive. But think, Dan, I'm going to read to you what I've written in my journal today, if that's alright. Hope you don't mind. If there's anything that resonates with you in there, then please leave it in the comments, yeah? So I'm going to read mine out. So, I can remember having lots of toys throughout my childhood. The first big toy I remember having was a bright red racing car, go-kart, I used to try and pedal it everywhere, but it was very hard work for a kid with such skinny legs. I then remember being given Subbuteo for Christmas one year. I loved that game. I collected as many teams as I could, and we set up a league with my friends Ian Pearce, Brian Pearce and Mark Pearce. We moved house so many times when I was a kid, and I've no idea what happened to all of my toys. I loved the usual things like Action Man and Toy Soldiers. I was never really into board games. I had to make do with toys that I could play with on my own, really, as I had no one else to play them with. As you know, I was an only child, so I had no brothers and sisters, and my mum and dad, however great parents they were, they didn't want to play toys with me really. So that was kind of it. And the next question is, what were your favourite games? Well, I've sort of said what my favourite games were really, I think. As for physical games, I only love playing football. That's what I love doing. I was absolutely rubbish at it, but I love playing football. So I hope that sums it up for you. I think what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to chill out. I'm going to listen to some music, and I might even do a bit of meditation while I'm here. And I'm just going to chill out for half hour, and then I'm going to head back. So thank you for joining me on this video today. I hope you found it informative, funny, stupid or whatever. If it's any of those things, at least you got something out of it. But it's lovely having you on my journey, and I'm going to keep doing this journal thing. Whenever I get a spare bit of time, I'm going to come out, find somewhere to go and sit and just do some journaling, and see if I can get this book completed in the next year or so. But it is a beautiful day here at Stokes Bay. It's really nice, and I hope you've enjoyed it. But anyway, thanks for joining me today. It's been lovely to have your company. I know I quite often moan about where we live, but 20-25 minutes from the sea, from the beach, it ain't that bad really, is it? Especially on a day like today. It's gorgeous.